The Hybrid Luna, Chapter 4. Bo POV. "What the fuck, Jeremiah?" I shouted in anger. "I'm the alpha now, not my dad. You fucking clear outsiders with me, not him." I watched as one of my best warriors cleared his throat and bared his neck to me in submission. I took a few deep breaths to try and reel in my alpha aura. "When did she get here?" I asked in a much calmer tone. "She's been here for less than a week," he replied instantly. I glanced to his brothers, Jacob and Joshua. They were identical triplets, which is beyond rare in the werewolf world. They had recently turned 18 and moved into the pack house full-time in the hopes of meeting their mates. They apparently had paid a visit to their mother's house and found the stranger sitting in her kitchen. Awesome. This is just what I wanted to deal with on my first fucking day back. I sighed and sank into the chair behind my large desk. I waved my hands to dismiss them and mind-linked my beta Brian. "Get your ass to my office now." Within seconds, I heard running feet in the hallway that came to a stop on the other side of my door. Brian knocked twice before entering, shutting the door behind him and sinking into the chair opposite me. "Report," I snapped at him. I knew I was being overly harsh, but I couldn't temper my frustration no matter how many deep breaths I took. Shelley was contacted by the human social worker approximately 5 days ago. He'd been assigned a case with a shifter kid. Reports say that she was discovered outside of a strip club in the heart of the city. They don't know who she is. She hasn't spoken a word. She was taken to the human hospital and treated for several injuries before she was released and brought to Shelley the next morning. It's unclear if she knows if she's a shifter or not, but... He stopped himself mid-sentence and his eyes glassed over. He was receiving a mind link from another pack member. My foot began to bounce impatiently under my desk as I tried to rein in my temper. After about a minute, he blinked and refocused on me. "That was Shelley, actually. She brought the girl to the clinic for an appointment with Dr. Rowden. Court-mandated therapy, I guess," Brian explained. I shot out of my chair and headed for the door. "Great, let's go introduce ourselves." We made our way outside and down the driveway of the pack house. From the hill, I could see the central packlands were buzzing with afternoon activity. At the bottom of the hill, I spotted Shelley's Jeep parked near the entrance. Brian and I headed inside, finding Shelley in the waiting room alone. She stood as she spotted our approach, seemingly unsurprised to see us here. Not much surprised Shelley. "Alpha," she said as she bowed. I nodded before approaching her and pressing my forehead to hers. This was a sign of deep respect for our elders of the pack. She smiled and patted my cheek before returning to her seat. Brian and I settled into the plastic seats across from her. "I don't know anything more than you do, Alpha," she said without waiting for me to speak. "She hasn't said anything to me, besides they call me Jane when she first arrived." My brows furrowed as I mulled this over. "Did you try to link her? Does she have a pack smell?" "I can't link her. She doesn't smell like pack, but she doesn't smell rogue either," Shelley explained. "I've honestly never smelt a shifter like her before. She's a mystery." "How long will she be staying with you?" I gruffed. "Unknown. They couldn't match her fingerprints in any system. The humans took DNA while she was in the hospital, but beyond that, they have no way to identify her. Things have stalled on the human side." I rubbed the back of my neck, trying to think about next steps. "I want Alex on this. Hack security footage from the night she was found and backtrace her to figure out where she came from," I instructed Brian. "Have the humans tried facial recognition of any kind?" Shelley just shrugged as she watched me. I didn't like this. Something isn't right here. We are missing a big chunk of information, and it unsettled me. My wolf was pacing in my mind, feeding my agitation. Just as I was about to command Shelley to report with her to my office at the pack house when they were finished, a gut-wrenching scream tore through the still air. I was on my feet and moving towards the patient rooms in the back before I realized what I was doing. I shoved through the double doors behind the reception desk and sprinted towards the only closed door in the hall with Brian and Shelley hot on my heels. I flung the door open and found Dr. Rowden sprawled out on the floor unconscious, blood trickling out of his nose. I stooped and felt for a pulse. Satisfied that he was still alive, I moved toward the panting and sobbing I heard coming from behind the exam table. Wedged between the wall and the corner of the exam table, I found a young woman folded in on herself, rocking gently back and forth. She hugged her knees to her chest in a death grip and sobbed uncontrollably. I approached her slowly, keeping my hands visible to show her I wasn't a threat. I knelt down in her line of sight and tried to murmur soothing platitudes to calm her. I inched closer when I realized that she was staring right at me, but not seeing me. She was caught in some memory or thought that kept her from seeing me right in front of her. When I was close enough to touch her, I paused as I made a startling realization. She had no scent.